I always have, I have a theory about why World War II movies have such longevity, because it was a time when, well, obviously the whole world was at war, and we knew who the good guys were and the bad guys were, and there was this incredible conflict going on. But the world was familiar. In other words, it wasn't like the Civil War or the Revolutionary War. The world was familiar. You know, you had telephones, you had cars, you had newspapers, you had movies, radios. So there was enough that was still going on where the modern audience can relate to the life that the people were in, and they could then say, oh yeah, and they're in this tremendous conflict. I think that that's why there's so many of them keep getting made and why it's so powerful. That's my own theory.
It's also because Nazi uniforms were sharp.
Oh, well, but the whole Nazi thing was so diabolical. It was so fantastic.
Well, of course,
dramatic.
Of course, that's true too. But the uniforms,
they were
just awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the cut. I mean, am I wrong?
No.
Can we have nuance in life? I mean, they were diabolic and evil, but yeah, the wardrobe was fantastic, especially like the generals. I mean, those full-length leather coats, the lapels, and then the generals had the red stripe on the leg. I mean, it was all just very well thought out. Hugo Boss, I believe.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I think I've heard that, but I don't know if it was him or his company or what the real.
Well, there was.
I don't know what the real truth about that is. I've heard that though.
Well, a number of companies that we still have today started out supplying the Mitsubishi. I believe in Japan, made a few planes that flew into the decks of aircraft carriers. Certainly the Volkswagen.
Yep.
And
Bear Chemical.
What Bear Chemical? What's that?
Well, the Bear Chemical company. Bayer. What did I say? Bayer.
Well,
Bayer Chemical. They built
Bayer aspirin. Yes.
They built the
right.
The Bergen-Belsen.
They probably also. Yeah. I'm just guessing here, so don't sue me, Nazis. I'm just guessing, but they may have made the speed that they gave to the German troops.
Yeah.
There's a book about that.
Oh yeah.
That would be a great movie. Not that I need to give you any ideas, but there's a book. You could take the book and make the book into a movie, and it's about how the Wehrmacht the soldiers were given speed to go into battle. And how did they get to Paris in 3 days? That's how.
Exactly.
It was like Paris. They would have been in the Atlantic Ocean if they didn't stop them. They just jacked them up. And you could do an interesting thing through history because we gave our officers, like before there was a push, coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we gave them speed, but the Nazis were efficient like that. There are certainly tribes and more primitive peoples who would chew on certain plants that would give them cocaine, the coca plant, or in Africa, something called gat. I think it's Khat.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like their cocaine that you just chew on it.
I don't know. I don't want to get in any trouble, but I think maybe we gave our guys, certainly maybe some of our bomber crew,
maybe
some amphetamines.
Yeah,
doing those bombing.
Yeah,
runs.
maybe.
Yeah, right.
Right. There was amphetamines back then.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, certainly the Beatles took them in Hamburg.
Right. Well, I allude to that in a scene I did in Allied where you said, you were saying, take this before the mission, that after the mission. So I don't know if it was true or not.
Did you watch that series on? I think it was on Apple. I think it was Hanks.
Yeah, the one about the Masters of the Sky.
Masters of the Sky.
I thought it was. You know what I loved about that?
So great.
I loved there were so many little moments. So I loved all the little minutia they put in there, like the little things like just when they're coming back from the mission, they're standing there with a tray of whiskey for everybody. I just thought that was great.
I mean, they did Band of Brothers also.
Mm-hmm.
Same tone. I mean, it's just like nobody does World War II like Spielberg.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of his greatest movies is Private Ryan.
My favorite movie of all time, and that's partly because it's personal, because, I mean, the guy who plays Ryan, the movie opened with him as an older man,
Mm-hmm.
was exactly my father, who was in World War II, practically in that campaign.
Right.
So when I saw it in the theater, I mean, to say I was like a puddle was,
Sure.
you know, it
Sure.
was only about 4 years after my father died.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, you know, I've never had that experience in a movie theater but you know, Spielberg put him in like the exact sort of shirt my father would have worn in 1990, whatever, when
Mm-hmm.
that movie was, you know, it goes back in time,
Yeah.
and then we see him as a kid. But you know, that generation just is, I'm sure the kids are tired of hearing that they're the greatest generation, but they kind of were.
Yeah.
I mean, hey everyone, I'm on Substack now. Check it out and subscribe now at billmaher.substack.com. What could be simpler than that? My name, then dot, substack.com.